Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is our special weekly company highlight where we spotlight organizations really making significant impacts in electric utilities design and fielding.
And since it's Friday, we're diving into Katapult Engineering today. We've got a whole stack of their materials here, and we're going to try and give you a really comprehensive look at, well, how they seem to be changing the game.
Exactly. Our mission really is to pull out the key insights from these sources, help you get up to speed quickly on a company focused on deploying and maintaining safe, reliable utilities.
Yeah, everything from connecting underserved communities with broadband, to powering homes and businesses.
So what does all this mean for quality of life across the country? Let's unpack it.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, our sources highlight some, pretty big challenges. It sounds like a really complex landscape out there in the electric utility and broadband sectors, almost like a tug-of-war sometimes.
Well, absolutely. The core message we're seeing is that the traditional process, it can be seriously flawed, creates a lot of what they call pain for the teams doing the work.
Pain? How so?
Well, providers are juggling so much, right? Intense demand for faster internet, constant grid upgrades, stricter safety standards.
All while trying to keep the lights on and the service reliable.
Exactly. It's a constant balancing act.
And I saw something that really caught my eye, this mention of conflicting priorities and even tense relationships, making the industry feel like a zero-sum game. How does that actually play out day to day?
Yeah, that's a strong phrase. It really boils down to how manual methods just slow everything down, and they introduce errors.
Like what kind of manual method?
Well, imagine field teams, literally spending hours bushwhacking through WIDs or hugging poles, collecting data by hand, piece by piece.
Right. Old school.
Very old school. And it just doesn't give you the accuracy or the defensibility or, frankly, the speed you need today. Then you've got the engineering design side. That's super complex, too. Teams spend so much time just checking for violations, doing these detailed pole loading analyses.
And I bet coordinating all that is a nightmare.
It's a huge headache. You've got fragmented workflows, systems that don't talk to each other, and just a lack of transparency. And that really can erode trust between everyone involved, the utilities, the attachers, the contractors.
You also flagged a specific issue. They mentioned the double wood dilemma. That sounds interesting. What is that exactly?
Yeah, the double wood dilemma. It refers to that situation you see sometimes. A new utility pole installed right next to an old one, but the old one never gets removed.
Oh, right. I've seen those. Why is that such a problem?
Well, there's a huge backlog of these, often without good records explaining why the old pole is still there or who's responsible. It makes resolving it, getting that old pole out, almost impossible sometimes.
And that's a safety issue, I imagine, and slows things down.
Definitely both. Safety, because you've got older, potentially compromised poles just standing there. And efficiency, because it means more truck rolls, more confusion, and it really slows down deploying new services. Katapult clearly sees this as a big area where just having better data, better organization can make a massive difference.
Okay, so that paints a pretty clear picture of the challenges, the frustration. So how does Katapult Pro position itself as the solution? The materials seem to break it down into three main software pillars.
That's right. They integrate data collection, engineering design, and workflow management, all into one platform.
One single system.
Yeah. And the big goal, they say, is to let teams collect better data safer and faster than ever, and then use that data to design better solutions for today and for the future.
So it starts with the data. Let's dig into that first pillar, data collection. How do they actually transform that initial step, moving past those, pole-hugging methods?
Right. It seems like a complete shift. Katapult Pro is designed to gather accurate, defensible photo data faster and safer. But it's not just about taking photos.
It's what you do with them.
Exactly. The data is structured for specific uses right away. So things like telecom audits, assessing networks, figuring out who owns what equipment on a pole, finding the best spots for expansion, or distribution inventory, cataloging all the equipment, tracking assets accurately. For broadband deployment, getting comprehensive photo data means faster approvals.
Fewer delays.
Fewer delays. And then utility surveys give you deeper insights into the grid's condition, asset health, pole integrity. They really stress that this kind of effective, efficient data collection isn't just an add-on. It's becoming the new industry standard because it's just so much more reliable.
Okay, so you've got this foundation of accurate, geolocated data. What happens next in the engineering design pillar? The sources make it sound like it's more than just drawing lines faster. It's about embedding intelligence.
That's a good way to put it. This pillar is about helping teams design effective solutions with confidence And that confidence comes from having, like, real-time intelligence built right in.
How does that work?
Well, it covers both telecom design managing standards, even letting newer staff contribute effectively from day one, and distribution design. That means handling complex stuff like pole loading analysis, suggesting pole replacements.
And they mentioned 3D views.
Yeah, interactive 3D views of the network. Makes it much more intuitive. But a really key feature they highlight is auto flag violations.
Okay, what's that?
It actually imports national clearance standards like the ANSC, the National Electric Safety Code, or California's GO 95. These are basically the rule books for safe utility design.
Right, the Bibles.
Exactly. And the software flags any violations against those rules, or even custom regional rules, automatically as you design.
So it catches problems before they happen? That sounds huge for new engineers.
It is. It means even less experienced staff can contribute confidently right from the start. It drastically cuts down on errors and those costly project delays later on.
So it's like having an expert looking over your shoulder.
Sort of, yeah. You also get integrated pole loading analysis in real time. You see the results as you add or change equipment on the pole design.
No more designing something only to find out later it won't work structurally.
Exactly. It avoids those expensive reworks. They also include tools for cost estimates and figuring out costs for fixing existing violations or estimating the new construction. And finally, construction package creation.
So it generates the actual plans for the build.
Right. Complete packages straight from the design. And it integrates with older legacy systems using web automation or these things called APIs.
APIs, application programming interfaces.
Correct. They basically act like digital bridges, letting different software systems talk to each other smoothly. Avoids those data silos and having to manually re-enter information.
Okay, that brings us to the third pillar, workflow management. This sounds like the answer to those fragmented workflows and the trust issues you mentioned earlier. How does it create that visibility?
It's really about centralizing everything. The goal is manage all your projects all in one place. Build that trust through transparency.
So everyone's on the same page.
Ideally, yes. For telecom projects, it helps coordinate between the attachers and the pole owners, clarifying that whole application process. For distribution projects, it streamlines grid upgrades by letting you set up custom project types for whatever you're doing.
What are some key features there?
Well, there's a portal workflow. It's like a public-facing dashboard where different parties, utilities, contractors, attachers can collaborate. Everyone sees the same information, the same version of truth, with instant updates.
That alone sounds revolutionary for this industry.
It could be. They also have automated notifications. You set up custom timelines, and it automatically alerts contractors, vendors, stakeholders about deadlines or milestones.
Keeps everyone in the loop without constant phone calls and emails.
Exactly. And then there are compliance and reporting dashboards. Custom dashboards to track timelines, ensure regulatory compliance, and just check the overall health of a program using KPIs, key performance indicators.
And it's flexible.
They say the whole system is fully configurable to fit specific program needs, which is important because every utility, every project is slightly different.
It really sounds like the foundation for all three pillars is their GIS map base and the real-time cloud database. Those seem critical.
Absolutely fundamental. The GIS, Geographic Information System, automatically links everything, the designs, the photos, the engineering data, to its actual physical location on a map. You're always working in real-world context.
Not just abstract drawings.
Right. And the real-time cloud database means multiple teams, even different companies, can work together on the same project data simultaneously, share updates, make changes from anywhere. That collaboration, that single source of truth, is vital for efficiency and cutting errors.
And they mentioned some other tools, too.
Yeah, things like industry-leading design tools and measurable photos, configurable QC. This lets them capture super detailed existing and proposed conditions on the pole. You could even do, like, virtual rideouts.
Virtual rideouts?
Yeah, instead of everyone driving out to a site again, you can review the high-def, measurable photos together online to resolve issues or discuss the design. Saves a ton of time and truck rolls.
Okay, so the software sounds comprehensive. But beyond the features, what really sets Katapult Engineering apart? There are other software solutions out there. What's their unique edge?
Well, the sources point to a few things. First, their history, their roots. They actually started way back in 1991 in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Not as a software company initially, but as an OSP design group.
OSP, outside plant.
Right, designing the infrastructure outside buildings.
Right.
They spent over 3 decades working in the overhead distribution industry. They even administered third-party pole attachments for a local utility themselves.
Ah, so they've been in the trenches.
Exactly. This expertise-included idea isn't just marketing talk. Their solutions are built from their own experience, tackling the industry's toughest, messiest problems firsthand. They know the pitfalls because they've fallen into them.
That practical experience has to be a huge advantage. What about how they work with clients? Is it just selling software or more of a partnership?
They really emphasize partnership. Their philosophy is called fair exchange, aiming for mutual wins. They explicitly say they expect clients to use the software to create games that far exceed what Katapult gains from the relationship.
That's a pretty strong statement.
It is. It signals they're focused on long-term value for the client, not just a quick transaction. They seem invested in their client's success.
And what if a company needs more than just the software? Maybe help getting their team trained up or customizing the system?
They offer a lot there, too. Comprehensive custom services and support. Things like specific OSP training programs, boot camps for field and office staff, apprenticeships designed to get new hires productive fast and upskill existing teams.
So they help with the people side, too?
Yes, including certification to prove proficiency. They also provide equipment if needed, full kits, or specific tools for better data collection, and custom configuration.
Tailoring the software.
Exactly. Tweaking it to fit a company's unique workflow with consulting support for more complex solutions. And they emphasize continuous improvement. Every site license apparently includes custom coding hours.
So clients can actually request specific features they need.
That's what it sounds like. Clients get to help dictate the solutions. And they have this pretty remarkable transparency statement, too.
What's that?
They basically say, if you are ever unhappy with our performance or pricing, we will be fully transparent and share lessons learned, processes, and data to help equip the team you choose to replace us.
Wow. That's backing up your product with serious confidence and transparency.
It really is. It shows a strong commitment to the client's success, even if that means helping them move on. That's pretty rare.
Okay, we've talked features, philosophy, support, but what about the bottom line? The real-world impact. The sources had testimonials, but let's be honest, adopting any major new system has challenges. What hurdles do companies face, and how does Katapult help?
That's a very fair question. Change is always hard, right? Common hurdles are things like migrating data from old systems, getting the whole team on board and trained, and just adjusting those ingrained workflows.
The "we've always done it this way" problem.
Exactly. But Katapult seems to tackle these directly. Their customization services mean the software adapts to your process, not forcing you into a rigid box. The training programs are designed to shorten that learning curve significantly.
So they try to smooth the transition.
Right. And that continuous improvement model means the software grows with you. It becomes less of a one-time hurdle and more of an ongoing collaboration. And the results in those testimonials suggest it works.
Okay, let's hear some of those results then. Give us some examples.
All right. Take TechServe. They do joint use administration, and they've used Katapult Pro since 2020. Their Director of Technical Services, Andreas Fondrini, said it's been instrumental in handling the collection engineering for over 2 million polls since 2021.
2 million, that's incredible volume. Shows it scales.
Definitely. She praised its user-friendly interface and versatile API for integrating with their other systems.
Okay, what about someone focused more on building new connections, expanding their network?
Lightpath Communications. Their CEO, Ed Edwards, credited Katapult Pro with helping them engineer new pathways with integrity and quality. He specifically mentioned producing precise strand maps and collecting attachment data with speed and precision.
Speed and precision, key for growth.
And crucially, he said it accelerated the onboarding of many new hires, giving them a competitive edge quickly. That's huge when finding and training skilled people is tough.
Absolutely. And did anyone put numbers on the efficiency gains?
Yes, ADB companies. Their engineering operations manager reported really significant improvements. They said they have been able to double production for engineering time on a weekly basis.
Double production, just from the software.
That's what they reported. Fielding timelines increased drastically, meaning they got faster, and maybe most impressively, rollbacks have reduced by 90%.
90% fewer errors needing rework. That saves enormous amounts of time and money.
Huge savings. Fewer truck rolls, less wasted effort. They also specifically praised the customization, saying, no other software can compare when it comes to functionality and integration into existing workflows. Those are tangible bottom-line results.
So wrapping this up, what does all this mean for you, our listener, whether you're working directly in utility design or just rely on that infrastructure every day?
Well, ultimately, Katapult Engineering frames its mission around enabling teams like yours to make the world better. That sounds lofty, but connecting communities with broadband, ensuring reliable power that directly impacts quality of life.
Right. These aren't abstract problems.
Not at all. The challenges are immense: grid upgrades, safety, speed. But by tackling those flawed processes, those communication breakdowns, companies like Katapult are aiming to help you build a more resilient grid, deliver those essential services more safely and more efficiently.
So it comes back to building better solutions founded on better, more reliable data, and fostering those connections between different players to strengthen the whole grid, making sure the hard work doesn't get lost in outdated systems.
Exactly. You've got new tech, new funding streams, higher public expectations. It's all changing the distribution landscape rapidly. Having the right tools isn't just about being efficient anymore. It's fundamental to maintaining a resilient network and serving customers well in a world that just expects power and connectivity to always be there.
So thinking about all this, what really stands out to you about how integrated solutions like Katapult's could genuinely transform day-to-day operations? And what ripple effects could that have on making our communities more reliable, more connected? Maybe think about how that impacts safety, speed, cost in your own work, or even just the infrastructure around you.
It's definitely something to consider.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Katapult Engineering for today. We really hope you found these insights valuable, understanding the kind of impact they're aiming to make.
And if you have any feedback for us or questions about this dive, please feel free to reach out. Alex is at alex.read.power.podcast@gmail.com.
And Emma is at emma.quinn.power.podcast@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and we'll be back next week with another company highlight.